Oh, there it is.
All right. Well, hey guys. I am Jordan Ho, the Student Ministries Director and High School Pastor, and you guys are.
I'm Chris Schultz.
Jen Schultz.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here we are.
yeah,
Chris, who are you to the well?
exactly. I serve as the executive pastor of ministry here at our church, and Jen and I have been married for almost 21 years on April 17th.
hmm
And we've got four daughters, 18, 16, 14, and 11.
hmm
Sweet. So, Chris, you have been integral to our building of marriage ministries, but I would
Yep.
say Jen is 50% of that effort because without your marriage, there is no ministry.
Yeah.
And Chris is my director, and I report to him. But we just decided that we want to do some of these videos from church leadership of people who have teenagers at home for the purpose of saying, look, a lot of times the narrative in our culture right now, it's very popular to be like, this sucks. My kids are at home. I don't know what to do. It's way too much time on our hands. They're a burden. Let's talk about how we can just kind of get them out of our hair, which I think we can all admit it's difficult. It's sudden. It's not planned. That's for sure. And nobody's ready for a pandemic.
Yeah.
But the reality is I think if we don't plan or take advantage of this time, really we could miss a really sweet opportunity to connect with our families in ways that, the health scariness, the economic scariness, but the time with family could be something that is redeemed and remembered for a long time.
hmm
And the benefits of having a family that slows down and spends time together and intentionally walks with Jesus as kingdom people in this time could be huge. And so if we don't capture it, we'll miss it.
Yeah.
And so I was interested. I just want to hear from you guys. First of all, what are some kind of new normals for you? What are new rhythms that you guys have established with your kids in this season?
Yeah, I think Jordan, what you just said was perfect because for Jen and I, we both have full-time jobs. We're involved in a lot of ministry that sometimes even takes us away for weekends.
hmm
We were just out in Texas a couple weekends ago, and so our girls all have activities. Our oldest, Cameron, who's in college, she's working full-time. So we run hard, and there's lots of things going on. So just one thing practically for us is this tonight will be the seventh night in a row that all six of us have sat together at the dinner table and shared a meal together, and not just in the same house, but full on with dishes and a full meal and the whole bit. Like we're not sitting at the counter or out in the living room. It's like around the table, laughing and having a good time with each other. So that for us has just been a new rhythm that has been really, really sweet because our lives haven't dictated that for years. And so we've loved that.
Yeah, and the other thing was, I think when we found out that the kids were going to be home from school on Friday afternoon, the Friday the 13th, I think it was, Chris and I were thinking, man, this is not just for a week. This is going to be for an extended period.
Yeah.
So I immediately was thinking, like, I do not want to miss out on this. I want to make sure that we're being intentional during this time. And so Monday morning came and I got all the girls up at 8:30, which shocker. I mean, that is sleeping in for all of them,
Yeah.
but I got them all up at 8:30 and I just said, listen, we're going to use this time. This is not going to be an excuse for watching television all day, sleeping in till 10. I mean, we're going to use this time. So starting Monday morning, I got them all up at 8:30 and I go through a devotional with them, and just nothing huge or terribly deep, just a moment for us all to sit together, read the word, and then ask a good challenging question. They don't have to answer me at the time, and just something for them to think about throughout the day. And then I pray over them, and then they can go about their day, and then I get myself ready for work, and then we get moving. But just even in that, the first morning was awful. They all were half asleep and were groggy and complaining and all the things. But by the third and fourth morning, they were up, they know what's happening, and I far less complaining.
Yeah. We still have to drag our oldest out of bed, get her down. But other than that, it's been good.
But I have heard from a couple of them say throughout the day, they're like, "Hey mom, I know that we didn't seem as like we were paying attention, but I really appreciate you doing that with us." And that just warms my heart, because I'm thinking, I mean, I could sit there and just complain that they're not paying attention, but I'm just trying to be faithful to the things that God's put on my heart to do with them, and just do it regardless of how they're responding to me in it. I'm just making sure I'm doing that. And I'm not preaching. I'm just taking 15 minutes, starting our day off right. So that's a new rhythm that we've started too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, along those same lines, what's been difficult about this transition for your family?
Well, I think one of them is, they do have a lot of free time on their hands. School's getting kind of back in the swing, so they're now figuring out they do have assignments, and so they're getting back to some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, throughout the day, we're not quite sure how much time they spent on their phone or on their computer, or just it feels like kind of wasting the day. So, there's been that. A couple times they've felt a little stir crazy. So I think one day we sent them out. They went to River Park with our dog and went for a long walk. So that was good. But yeah, I think there's been probably just being stuck at home, and then just having a little bit more time on their hands, almost like a summer vacation. And so that's one thing, just even this weekend, we've kind of tried to address and maybe think about it a little bit differently going to next week.
Yeah, I think it's the balance, trying to find the balance of like, where do we like lay down the law of here's what you have to do today, and also allowing them the freedom to say, okay, I'm going to let you be on your device or whatever for a little bit while I'm working, or because I'm working from home now too. So it's just the balance. It's like trying to figure that out while we're home with them all the time.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Is there any new structures? How do you guys structure your day?
Yeah. So we sat him down this morning. I made him breakfast and pancakes and bacon and sausage. And so then I saw him through and we said, hey, this is kind of how we'd like our new rhythm to go. We're going to do the early morning, 8:30 kind of Devo. And then you're going to have your day. But I'm going to give them and this is probably my achiever having too much fun, but I created a little piece of paper here that they'll get. And on it just has some things that we want them to be intentional about in the day. So we want them to spend 30 minutes doing some sort of physical exercise. What they do is up to them. Walk the dog, go do Pilates, I'm saying go for a run. That's up to them. We want them to do 30 minutes of kind of spiritual exercise. So spend time in their word, pray, watch a Right Now media video. Again, that's up to them. They'll have some chores. They'll have some homework. We want them to spend at least an hour or so just resting. Like one of the things I think I'm challenged by, had a conversation today with a parent being challenged by, is we can fill their day with activity, but maybe one of the things we can help them do is actually just to rest, like spend a day and just rest. And then we're going to do a kind of a one activity of fun where we have fun, karaoke, games, whatever it could be. So every day, then by the end of the day, when we get to dinner, the idea would be is we just kind of be accountable to each other. Like, what'd you do? Oh, I got on the elliptical machine. Great. I read through the book of James. Awesome. Right. And we'll kind of celebrate that as together. So we're giving them some guidelines. Like, this is what your day needs to include. But when you do those things and what you do, that's kind of for them to decide. And we'll probably, with our younger one, our 11-year-old, give a little bit more instruction. But even for her, I think she's got the opportunity to kind of decide how she wants to take advantage of the day and kind of redeem it. So
yeah, and I thought this was kind of good. We do have some of our kids are very check the box kind of kids, and so this will be awesome. They love this idea. But others, we have one I think that's kind of like, oh, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, and that's really what it is. Whether they do, hopefully she'll do one or two of these things, but. The point is that we're trying, and we're trying to give them some kind of structure, and because we're gone so much.
Yeah.
They actually said to us this morning, they go, this is kind of hard for them that we're around so much, because they have a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to, like you talked about, like, what are the hard things? I think the hard things, not just for us, it's for them. Yeah. Like, we're here now. We have eyes on so much stuff. And so it's that dance too of going like, I'm not going to micromanage you, but I want to give you some suggestions so that we're to your point, redeeming that time. We want to redeem this time and make it worthwhile, because this is not like summer vacation where we planned and we knew, oh, on summer, this is what I'm going to get done. It was all of a sudden it was put on us.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, that's a great thing because it caught us off guard in a sense and allows us to kind of go, okay, great. Like, what could we do with this time? And so the girls are actually more excited about it because it was unplanned, unexpected.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, Jordan, we're going to do, and again, we don't know how this is going to play because we just talked about it this morning, but at the end of the day, in a sense, in community, as a family, we want to kind of hold each other accountable. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we said we're going to do these things. Well, what'd you do? We did this. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That was awesome. We're going to celebrate it. And then I hope there's a little bit of peer pressure for those of them who didn't do it, like, oh, shoot, I said I was going to do this and I didn't, and we're not going to shame them. But I think there's going to be that deal of like, let's not waste this day.
Yeah. And one of the things we talked about them too is like, let's do things that we wouldn't do before. Like, the girls make cookies, but I said, let's try something new. Try baking bread.
Yeah.
Like
Tessa's in the kitchen right now, our junior hire, making bread right now.
And I just sent her the recipe and said, hey, try it, do it, see what you can come up with. And I love that because it's giving her an opportunity to exercise a new muscle and try something new. And whether that's in the kitchen or try a new, something outside, build something, draw something, I don't care. We want to try new things and see what we can come up with. And then we share that in the evening at dinner. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. Do any of your kids have, without being too personal with their stuff, but just have any of them struggled with anxiety with all this? And have you had to talk with them about what that looks like in trusting the Lord?
Okay.
Well, we have, it's interesting. I think I wouldn't say that that's the C note in our conversations. They're not nervous about their own personal health and that kind of thing and nor just I think they're more fascinated by it.
Yeah.
One of our daughters said, Mom, our generation has never lived through something like this. We've never been in a situation where we're kind of desperate for something, in that way, like there's no groceries. We can't go out and see our friends. We can't. And she said, it's just interesting. And so there's not really, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'll say yet, that kind of anxiety over what we're experiencing, more kind of fascination, I think, because we've had a lot of conversations and we've been trying to be really intentional with how we talk about it and referencing scripture and just our trust in the Lord with our future, and that we start every prayer with, we aren't even guaranteed today.
Yeah.
So gosh, let's just be grateful for breath that God even allowed us to wake up this morning.
Well, and even just mindful of the fact that we've been trying to not scare them with facts, but also just, hey, this is what we're hearing. Mm-hmm. This is what could come next. And we don't know that for sure. But we're trying to not hide information from them because they've got information on their phones, right? And in a lot of ways, we're trying to get accurate information, right? So that when we're having those conversations, they're not hearing a bunch of nonsense that they got on the internet, but actually some things that we go, okay, this is what people are dealing with, and this is what could happen in our city, and from the lockdown to some of those other things. So we feel like we've tried to be proactive. And I think over the years, we're not perfect at it, but we've always tried to be pretty honest and forthright in our conversations with our kids about stuff. And so this doesn't feel like it's new, but obviously it's affecting a lot of folks. And we're just even trying to think through, well, where could we help? What can we do? All that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I mean, any parting words to our parents and hopes from you and your family for the families of our church?
Yeah, I would just encourage parents to see this time as such an opportunity to be with your kids. One thing I was excited about today is I don't have anything to do. Like, I have nowhere I have to be except for this right now. This was the one thing on my schedule. Yeah, thank you so much. But I thought, my goodness, I have nobody pulling me in any direction. I have an opportunity to just be present with my kids. go for a walk. I have the time. I have no excuse.
Yeah.
So I just encourage them to use this opportunity to redeem the time, because I think we'll look back in months from now, maybe years from now, and this could be a really pivotal time with our children, just in their walk with the Lord, in our own walk with the Lord. And then just having them see that we have time to see the example of us walking this out with Jesus. And because they got eyes on us now, we're in each other's spaces. So use that time.
Yeah. And I would just say similar. I think there's an opportunity that you have as parents to obviously lead spiritually. You have an opportunity to kind of help them think through taking advantage of this time. But the other thing I just encourage you is to just have some fun as a family.
Yeah.
The first night
Yeah.
we did karaoke. And I'm not the guy who does karaoke. Okay. That is not my thing.
You made the girls promise there would be no phones out.
I
cameras.
told Tessa, my 14-year-old, if she videotaped me singing, that she was no longer Schultz.
And he did sing. He sang "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." It was amazing. It really was amazing.
I have a beautiful falsetto voice, Jordan, and I nailed it. But we laughed and we just were in tears, you know what I'm saying, just having a good time. So you just realize tonight we're going to do game night and we're going to enjoy ourselves, because again, these are memory building, and our girls will remember this week and the things that happened with COVID-19 in a lot of ways. And we want them to, but we also hope that they remember, hey, mom and dad, man, they really took that time to invest in us, and we enjoyed it, and we weathered the storm, and we made a difference. And so, yeah. I think it's all those things.
So good.
That's great. Yeah. I think one of the things that I often talk to parents about is we negatively say, like, oh, it's just a phase most of the time. But I mean, this is just a phase, but don't miss it. You know, there's a lot of opportunity to be held. And oftentimes, I mean, we're so busy.
Right.
We can't take our time to really get to know who your kids are now. Right. And I mean, when, if ever, will you be this bored?
That's right. That's right.
So like, let's take advantage of it for the kingdom and for to grow our families.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, Jordan, because I think you're doing the right kind of thing by just reminding parents of what this looks like. And I do think there's just a lot of resources and ideas and
tons,
things that, again, if this last week was sort of a wash, then great, you'll have another week, and it seems like you're going to have several weeks, you know what I'm saying, to kind of think through this and do your best. And I think God will use whatever efforts you put towards it. I think it'll be really good for your family.
Yeah, that's great. Well, parents, if you're watching this, we have a blog post on the middle school and high school pages that'll give you every Sunday. It's updated, some things to talk about for that week. This week will be things like how to talk to your kid who has anxiety about these type of things, and then how to redeem that time with some family fun, and a lot of other stuff, especially creating rhythms with your words for the specific age groups that your kids are in. So hope that you guys have a great Corona-cation as we work from your she shed and in my home office. And thank you guys for spending time with me.
You bet. Thanks, Jordan.